Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we crack open the everyday language that, well, often hides layers of fascinating meaning. If you've ever been in the conversation, you're following along perfectly, and then a seemingly simple phrase just pops up, and it makes you pause. You know that feeling, that little linguistic hiccup where you wonder, wait, what's really going on there? It's those subtle shifts in meaning, yeah, those unspoken understandings that can make all the difference in truly connecting. Our mission today is to pull back the curtain on some of these cornerstone English phrases. We're going to dissect them, explore their nuances, and really arm you with the confidence to not just understand them, but to wield them like a pro in your own conversations. We want to turn those moments of hesitation into genuine aha revelations, the kind that stick with you.
And it's definitely a mission we're excited about. What's truly intriguing, I think, is that our source material for this deep dive isn't some dusty textbook, right? It's the very fabric of daily communication. We've gathered key phrases that are used constantly, yet often without a full appreciation of their subtle power. By truly understanding the precise use, you'll unlock a more natural, fluid, and effective way to interact with English, hopefully feel completely at ease.
That's absolutely the goal. Whether you're navigating, say, complex professional discussions or just catching up with friends. Or maybe you're just cultivating your curious mind. This deep dive is designed to give you clarity. You'll not only grasp these phrases fully, but also know exactly when and how to deploy them effectively. This isn't about rote memorization, It's about internalizing the spirit and the utility of these expressions. Think of us as your guides, helping you navigate these linguistic currents, boosting your confidence along the way. Get ready to transform that uncertainty into lasting comprehension. All right, let's jump right into our first phrase. This is a truly powerful and, well, practical workhorse in the English language. Get something done. Now, at its most straightforward level, you probably know this means to accomplish or complete a task. It's about achieving a result, bringing an action to its conclusion. It's ubiquitous, isn't it? From your daily to-do list to major project milestones, we hear it and use it constantly. But there's a crucial, subtle distinction lurking just beneath that simple surface, and that's what we really need to unpack here.
Indeed. The profound insight behind get something done lies in its quiet power of delegation and flexible agency. If we sort of zoom out and connect this to the bigger picture, this phrase isn't merely about finishing a task. It's really a statement about effective task management. And the management of effort, which, importantly, doesn't always mean your personal effort, it allows you to communicate task completion and responsibility without explicitly specifying the performer. Consider the difference. If I say, I will do my taxes, well, I'm unequivocally stating my personal intention to perform that action. There's no ambiguity there.
Right, you're the one doing it.
Exactly. But if I say, I will get my taxes done, it introduces this significant layer of flexibility. That could still mean I do them myself. Maybe I'm just stressing the importance of getting them finished soon. But it equally opens the door to, say, hiring an accountant or even asking a knowledgeable family member for help.
No.
The focus shifts quite dramatically from my action to the task's completion. And critically, the means of completion can involve others. This subtlety is, I think, a cornerstone of efficient communication in both professional and personal contexts. It allows for discussions of responsibility, maybe even outsourcing, without needing to over-explain every single detail.
That distinction between doing it and getting it done is really key, isn't it? It's about the outcome, the finished product. And who exactly is performing the labor can sometimes be secondary, or maybe even implicitly understood without needing to be spelled out. But let me push a little here. Are there contexts where this delegation is implied but maybe not necessarily appropriate? Or could it lead to confusion if the listener assumes you're personally doing the work?
That's an excellent question, and it really highlights why understanding this nuance is so vital. While get something done offers this wonderful flexibility, misjudging the context can lead to misunderstandings. For instance, if you're an individual contributor on a team and you tell your manager, I'll get that report done by Friday, the natural assumption is probably you'll be doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you then delegate it without, prior discussion, it could be perceived as shirking responsibility, even if the report does get completed on time. The pitfall here is when the implied agency kind of clashes with established roles or expectations.
Right.
Conversely, in a managerial role, saying, I need to get this project done, implicitly allows for delegation within your team. But if you're the sole expert on some highly technical task, you might need to clarify, maybe say something like, I need to get myself focused to get this done. So context and pre-existing roles are paramount to avoid miscommunication.
That clarity on the outcome over performer idea is crucial. And understanding those potential pitfalls helps us use the phrase more effectively. Let's really bring this to life with some scenario-based examples. On the personal productivity front, we often use this to articulate our goals and commitments. You might hear or say something like, I really need to get my finances done before the end of the month. This isn't just, wishing it away. It's emphasizing a personal responsibility, a looming deadline, and the need for closure on a pretty significant task. You're committing to that outcome.
Mm-hmm. You own the completion.
Exactly. Or, after weeks of procrastinating, the relief is palpable when you declare, I finally got my overdue essay done. Here, the focus is squarely on the completion after a period of delay, right? Celebrating the achievement rather than detailing all the hours of research and writing. In both cases, the phrase highlights an individual's commitment to seeing the task through, whether it involved hours poring over spreadsheets or, typing furiously. It's about taking ownership of the completion.
And this emphasis on the outcome is even more pronounced, and I'd say strategically valuable in professional settings, particularly where delegation and project management are common. For instance, a manager might instruct a team member, could you please get that report done by noon? Now, there's a clear expectation from a superior, and while the recipient is probably expected to perform the task,
Right.
the core request is the completion of the report by a specific time. The manager isn't necessarily dictating how it's done, whether through personal effort or maybe by coordinating input from others, but that it's done.
Got it.
Or consider a team leader stating, we need to get the new software installed across all systems by Friday. This puts the focus squarely on the desired output, the installed software, its operational readiness, rather than singling out a specific IT technician or team who will do the installation. It implies a trust in the system or the team to ensure the task is accomplished, highlighting, target-oriented communication and shared responsibility for project milestones. It allows for a broader, more strategic view of tasks.
Beyond personal and professional stuff, this phrase is absolutely essential when we talk about services and repairs. These are the situations where we most often, quite literally, get something done by someone else. Think about it. My car broke down, so I need to get it fixed. You're almost certainly not donning overalls and popping the hood yourself.
Probably not.
You're taking it to a mechanic. Or, we're getting our kitchen renovated next month. This clearly communicates that you're hiring a team of professionals, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, to do the heavy lifting and the specialized work. The phrase perfectly captures that common pattern of outsourcing tasks that require specialized skills or significant time or specific tools that we simply don't possess. It's very practical shorthand for arranging for a service. Saves you from having to say, I am going to arrange for a mechanic to fix my car every single time.
Absolutely. And its utility stretches even beyond the literal and the concrete. Get something done can also describe efficiency or necessity in a more abstract sense. It almost becomes a descriptor of a person's character or a general approach to life sometimes. For example, to praise someone's trait, you might say, she's incredibly efficient. She always manages to get a lot done in a short time. This isn't about specific individual tasks, but about a general characteristic of high productivity and effective output. It's a compliment about their overall capability.
Right, like a general skill.
Exactly. Or, when faced with an unpleasant but absolutely necessary chore or decision, you might sigh and say, sometimes you just need to get things done, even if they're unpleasant.
Yeah.
Here, the phrase emphasizes the inevitability and the requirement of action, regardless of personal preference or discomfort. It speaks to a broader human experience of needing to push through difficulties to achieve a necessary outcome, highlighting resilience and practicality.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The profound insight behind get something done is really its quiet power of delegation. It allows you to communicate task completion and responsibility without specifying the performer, making it an indispensable tool for efficient project management and personal accountability. It's about efficiently communicating accomplishment, responsibility, and quite frequently, delegation. It's a linguistic tool that lets us focus on the desired outcome, whether we're the ones personally executing the task or, orchestrating its completion through others.
And this raises an important question. How does understanding this phrase help you navigate both professional requests and personal commitments with greater clarity? By recognizing its dual nature, direct action versus arranged action, you can better interpret expectations, articulate your own needs, and manage projects and time with, I think enhanced precision. Knowing when to use "I will do it" versus "I will get it done" can prevent misunderstandings and streamline your communication, making you a more effective communicator overall.
Definitely.
It truly connects to effective time management and successful project completion by clearly defining when a task is simply expected to be completed versus expected to be personally performed. It's a subtle but really powerful distinction that empowers clearer leadership and team collaboration.
Speaking of things taking time, sometimes, despite our best efforts to get things done, reality. Well, reality has other plans. And that brings us perfectly to our next phrase, one that I think resonates with almost everyone. Take longer than expected.
Ooh.
This phrase, take longer than expected, is almost universally understood, right? Often accompanied by a sigh of mild frustration or maybe a shrug of resignation, sometimes even a wry smile. At its core, it simply means that an activity, a process, or a task requires more time than was initially anticipated or planned for. You hear it everywhere, from project updates at work to explanations for why dinner isn't ready yet or why traffic was just a nightmare. It serves as a common, polite, and universally accepted explanation, and sometimes even a gentle apology for a delay. It's a verbal acknowledgement that our predictions don't always align with reality.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how deeply this phrase is tied to our cognitive processes of planning and time estimation. When things take longer than expected, it's often a collision between our initial projections, our hopes, our assumptions, maybe our best-case scenarios, and the sometimes messy, unpredictable reality. The phrase inherently presupposes that there was an initial estimate, right? An assumption of duration against which the actual time taken is now being compared. This divergence between plan and reality highlights what psychologists call the planning fallacy, which is basically our innate human tendency to underestimate the time, costs, and risks associated with future tasks, even when we have ample past experience of similar tasks taking longer.
Guilty as charged?
We all are. Recognizing this isn't about blaming, it's about understanding a fundamental cognitive bias that influences how we approach almost everything. This bias means we often build in insufficient buffers, maybe maintain too little flexibility when our mental models inevitably collide with real-world complexities. Be it, external factors beyond our control, unforeseen challenges that just pop up mid-task, or simply a good old-fashioned underestimation of the true complexity or effort required.
It's not just life throwing curveballs. Sometimes it's our own internal optimism, right? I often find myself thinking, oh, this will only take an hour, then boom, 3 hours later, I'm still deep in it. So it's that clash between hopeful projection and messy reality, isn't it? Let's look at some common work scenarios where this phrase is practically boilerplate. You might hear, the software update took longer than expected due to some compatibility issues.
Right.
This immediately communicates a valid, technical reason for the delay without sounding like just an excuse. It offers concrete information. Or, our client meeting ran longer than expected, so I'll be late for the next call. Here, it concisely explains a scheduling conflict, implying that the meeting's importance warranted the extended time, which is usually understood and accepted in a professional context. In both these professional scenarios, it serves as a clear, professional way to inform others of a delay and its underlying cause, often mitigating potential frustration by providing a quick, acceptable reason.
Absolutely. And it's not just in professional settings. This phrase is a staple of everyday life, helping us manage our personal schedules and relationships. Imagine saying, cooking dinner took longer than expected because I had to run to the store for an ingredient I forgot.
Happens all the time.
Exactly. This perfectly explains why dinner is late, attributing the delay to an unforeseen but completely understandable grocery run. It's far more effective than just saying, dinner's late, sorry. Or a classic one. The drive to the airport took much longer than expected because of heavy traffic. This is a quintessential example of an external, uncontrollable factor impacting a planned timeline. My own family has definitely missed flights because of similar optimistic estimates on holiday weekends.
Oh, no.
These scenarios highlight the pervasive role of unforeseen circumstances in our daily scheduling and how this phrase helps us communicate those adjustments transparently and without needing to offer lengthy apologies. It's about being realistic and managing the expectations of those around you.
This phrase is also incredibly relevant when we talk about learning and personal development. The path to mastery is rarely as smooth or as quick as we initially hope. For example, learning a new language always takes longer than expected for most people. This acknowledges the inherent difficulty and significant time investment required, setting realistic expectations for anyone embarking on such a journey. It manages impatience, encourages a long-term perspective. Similarly, mastering that new skill definitely took longer than expected, but it was worth it. Here, the phrase frames the extended effort as a testament to perseverance and the eventual value gained, making the initial underestimation less of a failure and more just part of the growth process. It helps us manage our own patience, set achievable milestones, and encourage perseverance in long-term endeavors, normalizing the challenges involved.
And we can't ignore the lighter side of this phrase, particularly when it comes to humorous underestimation, a truly shared human experience. Who hasn't uttered with a wry smile, perhaps after hours of toil? Trying to assemble that flat-pack furniture always takes longer than expected.
Oh, definitely. The bane of my existence sometimes.
It resonates with nearly everyone who has grappled with confusing instructions, those tiny Allen wrenches, and the sudden appearance of mystery screws. It taps into a collective recognition of overly optimistic time estimates for tasks that inevitably reveal hidden complexities. Another one might be, just popping to the shops to grab one thing took longer than expected because I got caught chatting to 3 neighbors. This kind of usage builds connection through shared experience and a little self-deprecating humor, reminding us we're all susceptible to life's little detours.
So what does this all mean for you? Take longer than expected is really a crucial phrase for managing expectations, whether you're the one experiencing the delay or the one informing others. It provides a concise, widely understood way to explain deviations from a planned schedule, allowing for transparency without, over-explanation.
Which naturally leads us to ask, how can we use this phrase to be transparent and realistic without sounding defensive or like we're just making excuses? The key, I think, is to deliver it factually, often with a brief, objective explanation of the cause, as a statement of reality rather than a plea for forgiveness. For example, saying, the audit is taking longer than expected due to unforeseen complexities in data reconciliation, rather than, sorry, the audit is taking ages, it's just so hard. See the difference?
Yes, much more professional.
Right. Pro tip. When communicating delays, pair took longer than expected with a brief, factual reason and, if possible, a revised timeline. This helps in setting realistic timelines, maintaining credibility, and fostering effective communication in both personal and professional relationships, where understanding and adapting to unforeseen circumstances is paramount. It shifts the perception from maybe a personal failing to an objective challenge that's being managed. And when things do inevitably take longer than expected, sometimes because of those cognitive biases we discussed, there's one particular trait that often helps us through the frustrations, and that's have a sense of humor.
Yes, have a sense of humor. This is such a vital part of social interaction and, honestly, I'd say a cornerstone of personal well-being. At its simplest, it describes the ability to appreciate or express humor, to find things funny, or maybe even more importantly, to laugh at oneself. It's a phrase just loaded with positive connotations, suggesting an approachable, resilient, and engaging personality. We actively seek out people who have a sense of humor because they tend to make life lighter, more enjoyable, and often more meaningful. They're a real connective tissue in human relationships.
It really is. And what's truly fascinating here is that having a sense of humor isn't just about telling jokes or being witty, though that can be part of it. It's really about perspective, resilience, and often a profound form of emotional intelligence. It encompasses not only the ability to make others laugh, but also, crucially, the ability to take a joke, right? To not be easily offended, and to find lightness or even absurdity in difficult or stressful situations. It's a powerful psychological buffer.
That's a great way to put it, a buffer.
Yeah. When someone is described as lacking a sense of humor, they might be perceived as overly serious, maybe rigid or easily offended, which can make social interactions more challenging and less fluid. So it's about adaptability, a willingness to not take everything at face value, and the capacity to diffuse tension with maybe a well-placed observation or just a simple laugh. This ability to shift perspective and find levity is incredibly powerful in navigating life's complexities, especially when things take longer than expected. It's a form of emotional regulation, really, allowing us to process frustrations with greater ease.
That's so true. It's a cornerstone of many positive personal traits, and we often use it to paint vivid pictures of someone's character. You might say, my grandmother has a wonderful sense of humor. She always makes us laugh, even with her slightly off-color jokes. This instantly paints a picture of a warm, joyful person who brightens any gathering and isn't afraid to be a little cheeky. Or, he's incredibly smart and also has a great sense of humor, which makes him very approachable despite his intimidating intellect. Here, the humor balances the intelligence, making someone formidable seem more human and accessible. It's an endearing quality that builds rapport and connection with others, breaks down barriers, fosters an open atmosphere.
And beyond just a personality trait, having a sense of humor is also a powerful coping mechanism, especially in high-stress environments.
Hmm.
Think about where it's absolutely essential. For instance, you need to have a good sense of humor to work in customer service. You encounter all sorts of things, from the sublime to the ridiculous, every single day.
Oh, absolutely.
This acknowledges the challenging nature of the job and how humor can act as a buffer against negativity and frustration, maybe preventing burnout. Or, in more serious situations, perhaps in a medical or emergency setting, even during tough times, she managed to have a sense of humor, which helped everyone stay positive and reminded us not to lose hope. Here, humor isn't a dismissal of the problem, but a strategic tool for emotional resilience, helping to alleviate stress and maintain morale when things are really difficult. It allows us to find perspective and a moment of lightness even in the deepest shadows.
And plays a huge role in shaping social dynamics and cultural interactions, too. You might playfully tell someone, oh, come on, it was just a harmless prank. You need to have a sense of humor about it. This is a gentle way of encouraging someone to lighten up, to not take a situation too seriously, fostering a more relaxed, less tense atmosphere in a group.
Right, diffusing potential conflict.
Exactly. Or, when discussing an entertainer, the comedian's jokes were incredibly dry and niche, but the audience who had a sense of humor for that particular style absolutely loved them.
Yeah.
This speaks to how humor often caters to specific tastes, and that appreciating it requires a certain predisposition or maybe cultural understanding. It highlights how a shared sense of humor facilitates connection and understanding within communities and groups, creating a sense of belonging and mutual enjoyment.
What's also intriguing is how we sometimes anthropomorphize situations, attributing a sense of humor to inanimate forces or abstract concepts, often to express irony or maybe a feeling of helplessness in the face of fate. For example, you might exclaim, "The universe really has a sense of humor sometimes, giving you exactly what you don't need, like a flat tire in a thunderstorm, at precisely the wrong moment."
Yes, definitely felt that.
Here, we're not suggesting the universe literally possesses emotions, obviously, but rather using the phrase to underscore a sense of absurd coincidence or frustrating irony that feels almost deliberate. Another instance might be, "My old car definitely had a sense of humor. It would always break down right when I was running late for something important." It's a playful way of processing unexpected and often unwelcome developments by giving them a whimsical, if maybe exasperated, explanation.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Having a sense of humor is so much more than just a laugh. It's a vital social skill, a robust coping mechanism, and really a cornerstone of emotional well-being. It shapes our interactions, helps us navigate challenges, and ultimately enriches our lives by providing perspective and levity.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it raises an important question. In a world that can often feel very serious and demanding, how do we cultivate and appreciate this essential human quality, both in ourselves and in others? It's partly about being open to different perspectives, learning to find the lighter side of situations, and actively seeking opportunities for shared laughter. A useful pro tip, maybe. Practice self-deprecating humor. Being able to laugh at your own mistakes or quirks is a powerful way to cultivate a sense of humor, and it signals approachability.
That's a great tip.
It contributes significantly to stress management, strengthens personal and professional bonds, and fosters cultural understanding by allowing us to navigate life's absurdities with grace and lightness.
That's a great point about self-deprecating humor. Sometimes, though, life requires more than just a good laugh. It requires overcoming physical obstacles, or at least trying to. And that brings us to our final phrase for today, a truly versatile one that you'll probably find yourself using constantly. Can't get something down, in, out, open. This is a fantastic and incredibly common phrase structure, and I'm really curious to unpack how those tiny prepositions completely shift its meaning. At its initial definition, this phrase structure means you're unable to move something into, out of, or open something because of some physical impediment or limitation. It's that moment of struggle when something just isn't cooperating, or maybe your physical abilities are simply not enough. The power lies in those tiny words down, in, out, open, which precisely define the nature of this specific obstacle. It moves beyond a simple, I can't do it.
Exactly. What's truly fascinating here is how a simple, almost generic verb, get, combines with these small but mighty prepositions to convey a precise sense of physical constraint or inability. It's all about encountering a barrier, right? A resistance that prevents a desired action. This structure very efficiently communicates a struggle, a physical limitation, or maybe something being jammed or stuck. The core idea is an unsuccessful attempt to maneuver an object or gain access. So, host, thinking about those everyday frustrations, how do you see this versatile can't get something structure helping us describe problems more precisely than just saying, I can't do it?
That's exactly where the magic lies.
Yeah.
Right? It provides immediate context. If I just say, I can't do it, you might not know what it even is.
Right.
But can't get the lid open immediately tells you the specific problem. It's all about specificity. Let's break down each of these prepositions because they each conjure up a very distinct scenario in your head. First, can't get it down. This typically refers to difficulty swallowing or difficulty lowering something heavy or awkward. For example, the pill was so large I just couldn't get it down. Here, the physical size of the object relative to the passageway creates the impediment, that real choking hazard feeling. Or, if you're moving house, the old piano was so heavy and awkward, we couldn't get it down the stairs without hiring professional movers. This speaks to a combination of weight, bulk, and the physical constraints of the space, like the stairwell. In both cases, there's a clear physical difficulty or size constraint preventing the downward movement. Another example, slightly different, could be, the price of the new car was so high I couldn't get it down even after haggling for an hour. Here, get it down refers to reducing a quantity, a sort of metaphorical lowering.
Interesting. Then we have can't get it in. This indicates a problem with fitting something into a space or inserting it somehow. A classic, universally relatable example would be, the new sofa is too wide. We just can't get it in the living room door no matter how we angle it.
Worst.
It is. Here, it's a clear spatial constraint. The object exceeds the dimensions of the opening. Or for anyone who's packed for a trip, there's no more room in the car. I can't get my last bag in even if I sit on it. This highlights a capacity limit where the container is physically full. You might also hear it in a more abstract context, like, I couldn't get a single word in during that entire meeting. My boss just kept talking.
Yeah, that one too.
This variant is all about overcoming spatial challenges and efficient packing, or sometimes the exasperating inability to do so. It also applies to inserting an idea or opinion into a conversation.
Moving on to can't get it out. This implies difficulty with removal or extraction, often from a confined space or maybe a stubborn situation. Imagine, I spilled red wine on my white shirt and now I can't get the stain out no matter what I try. Here, the difficulty lies in removing a persistent mark, a battle against chemical bonding, really.
A stubborn stain.
Exactly. Or a classic kitchen frustration. This jar of pickles is really stuck. I can't get the lid out. Notice that out here means freeing the lid from a tightly sealed or jammed position, not just taking it off. It implies a stronger resistance.
Right, like it's suctioned on.
Yeah. Another great one. I've been trying to solve this wooden puzzle for hours, but I can't get the last piece out. It seems perfectly interlocked. This highlights a problem of extracting something from a complex or interlocked structure. It speaks to persistence and dealing with stubborn, intricate problems.
And finally, can't get it open. This is all about barriers to entry or access, whether they're physical, mechanical, or even conceptual. Consider, my car door is completely frozen shut after the ice storm. I can't get it open. This is a clear physical blockage preventing the door from moving on its hinges.
Ugh, hate when that happens.
Or, a common struggle, the bottle cap is screwed on way too tight. I can't get it open without a tool. Here, it's a strength or maybe a mechanical issue, but it can also extend to knowledge-based barriers like, I completely forgot the combination. I can't get the safe open until I remember it or find the instructions.
Okay, so lack of information.
Exactly.
Right.
In this instance, the impediment isn't physical strength, but a lack of crucial information or the correct procedure. It encapsulates various challenges in gaining access, sometimes requiring tools, brute strength, or the right knowledge. It's a phrase that perfectly describes those frustrating moments when something is preventing you from reaching what's inside.
What's truly remarkable, I think, is how these physical metaphors extend so naturally to mental or emotional states. It showcases the incredible flexibility and evocative power of English. For instance, I was so excited to tell her the news, I couldn't get the words out. This isn't a physical block in your throat, right?
Yeah.
But an overwhelming emotional inhibition preventing coherent speech.
Pure emotion.
Or, as you mentioned earlier, he talks so much I can't get a word in edgewise, which vividly describes the immense difficulty of contributing to a conversation dominated by another speaker, and a creative one. I've been trying to write this song for weeks, but I can't get the perfect melody down on paper. Here, down refers to capturing an ephemeral idea and translating it into a tangible written form.
Yeah.
These metaphorical uses perfectly illustrate how physical struggles can mirror internal ones, making the phrase deeply resonant across different aspects of human experience.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, understanding this flexible framework allows you to precisely describe problems and limitations in countless everyday scenarios. Whether you're grappling with a stubborn jar lid, trying to express a complex emotion, or explaining a logistical challenge, this structure enhances clarity and empathy in your communication. It's a powerful tool for problem solving, for expressing limitations effectively, and even for seeking assistance when you encounter an insurmountable barrier. A useful pro tip here is to always remember that tiny preposition. It's really the key to making your specific frustration clear and understandable to others, often prompting the exact help or understanding you need.
So what does this all mean for you? This flexible structure, can't get something down to open, is basically your go-to for communicating frustration or an inability to overcome a physical, and sometimes even a mental or emotional, obstacle. Pay precise attention to that crucial preposition, and you'll unlock a whole world of specific meaning, making your communication far more effective and less ambiguous. Wow, today we truly plunged deep into some seemingly simple phrases, didn't we? We peeled back the layers of get something done, understanding its nuances of accomplishment and delegation, and how it clarifies responsibility. We explored why things inevitably take longer than expected, connecting it to our human tendency for optimistic planning and that whole planning fallacy idea.
Right, that bias we all have.
We truly appreciated the vital role of having a sense of humor as a social skill, a coping mechanism, and a powerful aspect of emotional intelligence. And finally, we dissected the subtle yet powerful distinctions of can't get something down to open, realizing how those tiny prepositions define our everyday frustrations with incredible precision.
Yeah, and what's truly impactful here, I think, is how mastering these seemingly small, everyday expressions can profoundly elevate your confidence and fluency. It's about moving beyond just knowing the words to truly understanding their power and nuance and how they fit into the intricate tapestry of English communication. These aren't just phrases. They're precise tools for more empathetic, effective, and unambiguous interaction in almost any context. They allow you to articulate challenges and expectations with much greater clarity.
Absolutely. Remember, language mastery isn't just about vocabulary lists, it's about context and confidence. Now you have the tools to use these phrases with precision and ease, transforming those moments of uncertainty into aha moments of clarity, both when you hear them and when you speak them yourself. You're now better equipped to navigate the subtleties of daily conversation, making your interactions richer and hopefully more authentic.
And this raises an important, maybe final question for you to ponder. Given the subtle power packed into these common phrases we discussed today, what other seemingly straightforward expressions might we be using daily without fully appreciating their hidden depths? And how might a deeper understanding of those reshape your interactions and perceptions of the world tomorrow? Every phrase really has a story, a context, and a particular utility just waiting to be discovered.
That's a great thought to leave with. Keep an ear out for these phrases today, and I guarantee you'll start hearing them everywhere, often in exactly the nuanced ways we discussed. That's the real magic of a deep dive like this. It opens your ears and your mind to the richness of everyday language, turning the familiar into something new and exciting. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.